Welcome to day 5 of our Questions Reframed series. And today's question is, can AI take this over for me? So I'm laughing because that's really not a great question from the standpoint that it doesn't really state anything, which is probably why reframing this is a great idea. But if you're new to AI and you're just trying to understand what its capabilities are, and dare I say you're looking for an easy button or a magic solution to a problem that's driving you crazy, it might make sense to ask the question in that way. AI is not a magic bullet. It can be your brainstorming partner, and it can be sometimes your voice of reason. So let's look at really what's missing from that question specifically, and that's how much judgment is involved in that effort. The quiet decisions, the edge cases, the moments where someone decides what's acceptable and what's not, what's the most important thing to talk about, and when good enough isn't good enough. How do I evaluate these type of things? I don't look at the tasks first. I look for, and I believe I talked about this yesterday or the day before, where we look at where the places where judgment or a decision is required. And those are the places that break automation. Repeatable processes are easy to automate. Not repeatable processes are a little more challenging. Those things that have a lot of decisions can be automated. It's just you have to take into account what those decisions are and what the options are, and make sure that you take into consideration those things that are simple and those things that are complex. The better question is, what judgment does this require that a system cannot make? There's nothing wrong with a human-in-the-loop automation. In fact, those are the best ones, really, because you're relying on the machine to do the boring things that it can do, because it doesn't necessarily have to think about. Getting back to the question, what judgment does this require that the system cannot make? And those are the places where you have to spend a little more time making your automation or making your workflow work for you with the information that it needs, so that if you have to delegate something, you have something that is defined, and you could just hand it off to another person and move on to the next thing. Your next step is to hold that question while you map the workflow. Each place a decision still matters is a boundary, not a failure. It's just a boundary. So each time you come to a place where you have maybe we call it a fork in the road, then just document where it can go. And as long as there is a way to define that, a direction that it can go or a solution, then great, you could probably automate that. But if there is something that's like, no, I have to look at it and make that determination, then that's probably something that needs a little more effort. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know.